Hi, I'm Allie Rosen, here with my panel, Luis Hernandez, head bartender at the Eddy in New York City, and Ashton Keefe, chef and author of Lemon and Salt, A Modern Girl's Guide to Culinary Revelry. Today, we're talking about big food companies trying to make changes and kids taking over the kitchen. But first up, Chipotle's Tasty Made Burger just opened a few weeks ago, but the chain is already ditching beef raised responsibly for cheaper meat. Chipotle execs say its consumers cared more about price than quality. But is this a mistake for a brand built on food with integrity? Luis, what do you think?
I think the way that I was looking at it, it sort of seems like they want to go the same way of a lot of different companies. I think with things like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's around, you look at a company like Shake Shack, for example, that does have a little bit more of a health factor to it. I would like to see them keep going that way, but it seems like they're kind of changing a little bit.
Right. I mean, Ashton, do you think that there's a responsibility for these companies to say, like, sometimes cheap is too cheap?
I mean, I think you have to look at your audience. The audience of where this is located is not going to pay for that quality or really care. So I don't think it matters from a business standpoint. Personally, I disagree with it, but from where they're coming from, I see why.
Yeah, I just wonder if Chipotle can maintain their aura if they then suddenly start going down that road. It's like if you start out as something different, you know, how can you possibly not make those changes with your burger company?
Well, one of the things that I saw is that for the Tasty Made, they're starting to do drive-through, and people immediately started asking, well, if you're doing drive-through here, is Chipotle going to start doing drive-through?
Right.
And that's something they've been completely against. So I think if it was a company that would already started doing that, they could keep it going, but since they already have a message, I feel like they should stick with it.
Right, like stick to what's worked for you. Well, next up, it's been around a lot longer than Chipotle, but Coca-Cola is also struggling to woo health-conscious customers. Now the soda brand wants diners to think of pairing Coke with gourmet food items like sushi and steak instead of junk food. Ashton, do you think Coke can convince younger diners it goes well with high-end cuisine?
I do. I'm convinced this will work, and for a couple of reasons. Fine dining chefs have been kind of sneaking Coke in a lot lately into their recipes. It's kind of become in vogue to put, you know, Coke in a recipe for cake or pulled pork or brisket or, you know, whatever it may be. So I don't see this being something that's going to fade away. I think that people will really grasp onto it, not in a way that it's going to be, you know, like wine.
Hope not.
But I don't think that they have a bad idea here. I think it's a good approach for Coca-Cola. They need to kind of go with the times.
Right. But do you think it works with high-end food? Because they're getting so much bad press on the health front that it's like, oh, let's shift it to being fancy.
I mean, when we talk about sushi, that to me, that's maybe on the line. I'm very much on the fence about that. As a former chef, I have used it a lot in different recipes and things. I think it can work to a certain extent, but I don't imagine that we'll see Grant Achatz anytime soon trying to pair one of his dishes with Coke.
Does the Eddy have any cocktails with Coke in it?
We don't right now. We're actually, I mean, honestly, inspired by them. We are creating our own cola syrup. But it's honestly based on their original recipe or what I could find of it.
Right. So, you know, Coke is here to stay. Speaking of younger diners, Gordon Ramsay's 15-year-old daughter has landed her first cookbook deal. Tilly Ramsay already has a cooking show and is often seen cooking alongside her dad. But is this cooking prodigy getting ahead of herself? Luis, do you think this sends a message to kids that being a chef is easy?
As I was watching her show, I do think that it kind of sends a message that, yeah, maybe like being a chef is easy. I think they should look at his dad's show a little bit more when they think that. But I love that kids are getting into it when they're younger. It's awesome to see that. But I do think that sometimes a little bit of reality check might be a good idea. She seems like she knows what she's doing, and she might be a very good influence. But I think a lot of kids might be jumping on the bandwagon and saying, "Oh, that seems like it's fun," and it's not easy when you're doing 200 covers.
Right, exactly. I mean, do you think it sort of glamorizes the world of cooking, or has TV already done that anyway?
Well, I think there's two issues here, actually. Well, many issues, but two important, and you will agree with this. I started my first restaurant job when I was 16. So is it too young for somebody to be in the kitchen who really wants to be a chef? No, I don't think so at all. But is she really writing her cookbook? Is she really in charge of the behind the scenes on that aspect? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. But I think there are two issues. Kids being in the kitchen young, I don't have a problem with it. But, you know, glamorizing this book and TV show, is that accurate? I don't think so.
Right. I mean, I think for me, the thing that's sort of funny is we have all sorts of people. We have, like, the wives of basketball stars. We have Chrissy Teigen. We have all these people, like, saying that they're cooks now. And most of these books have ghostwriters. I mean, most of these books are not actually written by these people. So it's kind of saying, like, I feel like it sort of minimizes the work and time that it takes to actually become an expert.
That's one of the things that I think get me, and as you said, you started, you know, you're 16. I've been in the business since I was 8, honestly, like helping out with my grandmother. But I think that's one of the things that I saw with somebody like Flint McGarry, for example, that a lot of chefs took exception to it, that, you know, you're getting this really amazing education, and he seems like an extremely talented kid, but it minimizes a little bit some of the things that, you know, I started as a dishwasher. I moved on to the garde manger, and I did prep, and then kind of moved my way up. So I feel like it's not only that, but even talent will not get you where you need to go to be able to manage an entire staff and an entire restaurant. I forget who said it, but somebody said that I didn't realize when I opened a restaurant that I was adopting 30 alcoholic, drug, you know, chefs, and that really, it's the sad reality of things. But you know, at 17, 18 years old,
you can't even pair your dishes with a glass of wine, so
Coca-Cola.
Pairing it with Coca-Cola, and it all comes full circle. Well, thank you guys so much for being here and joining me today. Do you want to join the Fox Foodie debate? Let us know what you think at FXN Leisure.